Hello and welcome to this new tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to talk as much as I can about TNSNAMES.ORA file and answer as much questions as possible. On this machine I have just installed the Oracle Database 21C Standard Edition, and I have done nothing yet other than installing the database. So I did not set any environment variables manually or anything. So TNS names. The TNSNAMES.ORA file is an important file when working with Oracle databases. So we need to understand what it is, where it is located, and how to create and edit this file. TNSNAMES.ORA is a configuration file that the Oracle database uses. It allows users and applications to connect to Oracle databases by matching a connection name with all of the relevant details in this file. As we are going to see, the TNSNAMES.ORA file has a specific syntax. Now, where is the TNSNAMES.ORA file located? If I look to my installation of Oracle database, this is the home folder for my Oracle database. It's CAP Oracle product and then 21.3.000. So this is the Oracle home. Under Oracle home, if you go to network and then admin, this is where you should find the TNSNAMES.ORA file. I don't have it yet here because I have not created it yet, but this is the location of the TNSNAMES.ORA file. Let me open the Sublime text editor. So the location of TNSNAMES file is Oracle home /network/admin, and Oracle home is an environment variable. Let's check if this variable is set for my machine. So type here in search environment variables and then click environment variables and look for Oracle home. I don't have Oracle home. I do have Java home, but no Oracle home, so I can create it. So to create this variable, click on new Oracle _home, and for the value give it this location. Click OK, click OK, and click OK to save. So now the Oracle home environment variable has been created. Another interesting environment variable is the TNSAdmin variable, which contains the value or the path directly to the TNSNAMES.ORA file location. So you can have this environment variable, and if it is there, it's going to point directly to this location. So I'm going to copy this path and then create the TNSAdmin variable. So it's TNS_admin with this value, and you can notice that it has in the beginning the Oracle home value and then network and then admin. Okay. The way this works is that the Oracle is going to check first for the TNSAdmin variable. If it is set, it's going to use it to find the TNSNAMES.ORA file and all the details in it. If TNSAdmin environment variable is not set, then Oracle is going to look into the Oracle home /network/admin location, and for this the Oracle home variable has to be set in the environment variables. If you notice here in this folder, in this admin folder, you have a folder called sample, which contains a TNSNAMES.ORA sample file. So let's copy this and paste it here, and let's edit it with Sublime Text. And here you can find the syntax for this file. I'm going to remove everything and paste the syntax of TNS names entries here. So this is the syntax, and you can have an entry for each database in your server. So if you have 10 databases, you can have 10 entries here. Now let's see the different parts of this entry. So first, net service name, and this is the name that you use for the connection string. So this is like the name of this entry. All of these details can have this name here. Host here is either the server name or the IP address of your database server, and this is where the database that you want to connect to exists. The port is required for the connection. The default port for Oracle database is 1521, but you can change it, of course. And the service name is the name of the database you want to connect to. So here I want to tell you something. Don't confuse this service name with this net service name. This is the database or the name of the database you want to connect to, and this is the name for this whole entry. So your service name can be, for example, HR DB, for example, and your service name, net service name, can be something else, my HR database. They can be the same, but they don't have to be the same. But you have to understand that this is the database and this is the name of this entry. So this is the SID of your database. If I go to the Oracle Enterprise Manager for my database, I do have here two pluggable databases, one called ORCL PDB and one called Demo. So let's create TNS names entries for both of these pluggable databases. So here I'm going to keep the port to 1521. I'm going to change the host, and instead of using a host name, I'm going to use an IP address. So let's check the IP address of this machine. It's 172.26.221.218. So this is my IP address for this server. The service name is going to be ORCL PDB for the ORCL pluggable database, and I am going to call my entry, for example, ORCL underscore PDB, but you can call it whatever you want. I'm going to copy this and paste it down below and change the service name to Demo and change this to Demo underscore PDB. So now I have two entries in my TNSNAMES.ORA file. The good news is that you don't have to create TNS name entries this way. You don't have to manually edit the TNSNAMES.ORA file and add entries to it or change it. You can do this in an easy way using a utility called Net Manager. So let me show you how to do this. So under the start menu, look for Oracle database, and then open this utility, Net Manager. Click yes to confirm that you want to open it. Expand Oracle Net configuration, then expand local, and then expand service naming. If you don't have any TNS name entries configured, you will find nothing here. So this is where you create your TNS name entries for your Oracle database. So to create a new TNS name entry, click on the plus button here. Sorry, I forgot to tell you to delete these two files here, because they will be generated automatically through the Net Manager utility. Now go back to this utility and select service naming and click on this plus button to create a new service name. The net service name is the name of your TNS entry. So let's name it, for example, ORCL. And this is going to be an entry for my ORCL container database. Click next. Choose TCP/IP protocol as the communication protocol and click next. For the host name, this is going to be the host of this database. So since I am on this machine that has the Oracle database installed on it, I'm going to just type local host, but you can type the IP address of the server name of your server. Click next. On this screen, you need to type the service name, meaning the database name. For me, it's ORCL, and click next. Click on this button test to test your TNS entry. And before doing this test, make sure that your listener is started. To check the status of your listener, just type lsnr ctl and then status. And for me, you see that it is up. If it is not up, do start. You can start it like this, lsnr ctl start. And for me, as you can see, it says that it is already started. If you click on test, it's going to say invalid username password. Click on change login and then type here a user for your database. I'm going to type the sys user as sysdba and password for this user. Click OK and click test again. I think I might have a wrong password here. Let me try the system user. Test successful. So I just had a problem with my sys user password. So close this. With this, I have validated the TNS name entry. If I go back to my admin folder and refresh, or sorry, I should see the TNSNAMES.ORA file, but I know why I do not see it yet, because I have not yet saved this configuration. So if I do save network configuration, I go back here without refreshing, I can see my new TNS name entry, and it's right here. It's ORCL with host localhost and port 1521, and the database name is ORCL. Okay, I kept the default 1521 port because that's the default port for Oracle databases, but you can change it, of course, if you want. I think you agree with me that this is a simpler way to create TNS entries. Another way to confirm that your TNS name or TNS entry is working fine is using the command tns ping and then the name of your TNS entry, which is ORCL. And as you can see, it says here OK 10 milliseconds. It means that it was able to ping this entry. If there is a problem, you will not see this OK message, you will see something else, like error or failed or something like this. If I go back to this file, you see here that the TNS entry and the service name are the same, but they don't have to be the same. You can rename this if you want. So if I go back here, I say ORCL, for example, TNS, for example. I save the configuration. I come back here. I reopen this. As you can see, sorry, I changed the database. This is not what I wanted to change. What I wanted to change is not this, but this. So the way to do this is to select your service name and then click on edit and rename. And if I type here ORCL TNS, click OK, click on save network configuration. As you can see, it is renamed here. So be careful that this service name is the name of the database, and this name right here is the name of the entry. And if I do TNS ping of ORCL, it's going to say there is a problem for sure, because there is no entry with the name ORCL. Failed to resolve name. But if I say TNS ping ORCL TNS, it's going to say OK. And I think you get the point here, and you understand the difference between this name right here and this name right here. The last thing I want to show you with TNS names is how to use them with Sql Developer. So if I open Sql Developer here, and then I go to Tools, and then Preferences. I'm going to give it a moment here to load. Under Databases and Advanced, you have this TNS Names directory option. So here you can set the directory for TNS, for your TNS names.ora file. For me, it's this folder, so I'm going to copy it and paste it here and press OK to save the changes. Just making sure that it is saved. Okay, let me make this a little bit bigger. So now if I do a new connection and I call my connection ORCL con, the user system password, my system password, and connection type I set it as TNS, and then I choose my network alias, which is ORCL TNS. If you have multiple TNS entries, you will see these entries right here. So if I use ORCL TNS and click test, and as you can see, it is successful. If I did not use TNS and I used basic, I would have to type the host name, the port, and the seed. But I don't have to do that if I have TNS names file. Okay? So now I can save this and connect to my database. So this is it, guys. I'm going to stop here. The video, I think, is too long already. I think this is all I wanted to show you about TNS names in this video. Please let me know if I missed anything or if you have any questions. I hope this video has been helpful for you, and thank you for watching.